Greetings, this is the Questing GM. So this is RPGADay 2020, day number 9, and the word of the day is light. I guess the wasn't expecting it to be so connected with day number 8, and I definitely didn't plan this. But since we're going to be talking about light, and after I was talking about the whole shade thing in day number 8, I figured why not let's just get into a little bit more about the mechanics of hiding in the dark. The most important opposing force to the whole thing is obviously light. But I think it's interesting to look at light and darkness as a continuum, and maybe that's just another element or component in the whole how do we make a stealth based or light and darkness based mechanic in a role playing game. So I think I'll just leave it as that. Light in role playing games is probably something that we try to always hand wave. We try to avoid getting into too much details because it just gets in the way, and that's probably why some people make the argument that all the races in 5e, at least most of the races in 5e D&D has dark vision because they don't want to deal with darkness and light situations. But that's just throwing a shade on the issue. But I think light itself in a role playing game becomes a very important component, or become an important component. Can be thought a bit further off, maybe just to expand on my idea of how a light and darkness system can be more nuanced. These are I'm just going to throw out some things that I think about when I'm talking about light, or more specifically light sources. The first question is where are they placed? And this may have been something that was very specific in the older modules of D&D. But if you read at room descriptions nowadays, we don't really talk about where light sources are placed anymore. It may be drawn on a map, but it's not usually pointed out of where light sources are, and where they are is going to be probably a very important first step of to talk more about light, because the next question actually is how bright are they? Again, taking D&D 5e as an example, there's only bright light and there's dim light, and then if you read the rules specifically, they will tell you what areas of a light source can cause us bright light, what's the area beyond that is in dim light, and then that falls into the whole lightly obscured and then complete brightness, which is you can't hide in a complete brightness area unless you're out of line of sight. I mean, which is fair, I guess. That's generally as simple as it gets. What I think can be a bit more interesting is if it's a more nuanced system. Knowing where the lights are and knowing how bright they are can be information that the players would need to determine whether they should avoid the area or whether they should manipulate the area or the light source, so that they would be able to pass through that area, or perform whatever they have to do within their area if they need to. So the next question that will come in would naturally be, can it be switched off or switched on? And I think this is something that is very common if you notice in stealth-based video games. Splinter Cell and Thief the Dark Project both offer you options of turning off light sources, and if you turn off light sources, the probably most important thing that comes after is what are the natural reactions, or what are the proper reactions to those who are familiar with that light source. So in most cases, like if it's a guard or in someone doing a patrol, if they see a light source that was turned off when they know it should be turned on, how do they react to it? Do they investigate the thing? Do they look around? Do they bring their own light sources along with them to investigate? And how suspicious are they to notice a light source that has been turned off? So that's probably another consideration when it comes to lighting mechanics. And then lastly, I think another typical question would be, can the light source be carried? Can it be removed? Can it be taken away, or even completely destroyed if you have to? So I think these are just very general basics of when it comes to using light. and how light can be important, how light is important in a stealth-based mechanics or RPG or whatever. Something that probably needs further thought, something that can be definitely pulled together with a shade and shadows and noises, and these are definitely components that can be built together into a interesting stealth mechanic or stealth RPG. So not much to talk about really, I think, to make a very light video, hopefully. Yeah, this is generally all I can think of right now, but definitely interested to hear more thoughts about how light plays a role and how light can be manipulated or be used in mechanics for role-playing games. And yeah, I guess that'll be all for RPG Day 2020, Day 9. And I'll see you in Day 10.